Oh, that was a good fart. I got that one on camera, babe.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was a good fart. Be proud of it. That was Tina and Adam. They're our good friends, but they live way over on the west side. And so, Gibby's gonna drive. We're gonna do a little bit of a cruise now that it's Saturday night. This is Krissy's car. If you guys want to make some extra money, I'm gonna give you Krissy's. Somebody's got a scat cat and a small penis. So if you guys want, you can use her thing referral and get signed up on that, and you guys can make money too for, what is it called? Cash Kings? Bet Kings, whatever, something Kings. So anyways, wanted to show you this. So somebody dropped this off. He's like, is the coil came undone? I was like, yeah, the coil does that whenever you get it red fucking hot. And it's a copper coil, copper 8-layer. He's like, it was beating real good. I go, yeah, but you burned it up. So he's like, hey, Krissy, we're gonna go for a critter cruise.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
I'll see you guys in a few.
Yeah, look at you. You're all brand new with your air conditioning and your good tires.
Oh, I know. My car's a real car.
Yeah.
It doesn't shake at all.
Good.
I mean,
Hey, Rizza.
Oh, it's awesome.
Good.
I mean, for the past 2 days, you might think, what has she been doing? Well, I've been tracking down parts, driving places.
What has she been doing?
What is she? You probably didn't
That's
care
not
what the hell I've been
that's
doing.
not my top
You
priority.
probably
Yeah.
didn't care.
The only
I
thing
think
the only thing I
care.
was going to tell you earlier was that your foxtail was on the swing
I
and you
noticed
forgot it.
that.
Yeah.
I know it was outside all night. It was out all day.
Aw.
Whatever the hell it was. Thank you.
All right. Hopefully it made babies. So, all right. We'll see ya. So, but so the other night I was talking to Sherry about. Was I just talking to you
About what?
about when I came back from Utah?
Yeah, it was just
It was me and her, and so my mom and dad got divorced, and it was messy, and my mom sold out her equity in the house for like 10 grand, and shacked up with she married him in the temple and all that other bullshit. They moved this all up to Utah, Alpine, Utah, which is insanely beautiful. It's insanely crowded now, though. If you go on Street View on Google Maps, it's like super crowded. It was not like that in 1985. But so anyways, that doesn't work out, of course. And we come home, and my dad and his new bride, which was like 15 years younger, smoking hot, blonde, and she used to let me, like, as a young boy, rub her thighs and her back with lotion and all this kind of stuff. And she did a lot of inappropriate stuff that, in hindsight, was probably not very appropriate. Like when she was nursing, she was squirting milk into a spoon and then letting us taste it. Anyways, so anyways, I had never really had a mom that, what's the word? Cared about me. My mom was more of a laissez-faire mom, like a real 80s mom. If you watch Christina P. on Netflix, her special. Tom Segura's wife. Anyways, we're getting ready back for school, and Robin, my mom, my new stepmom, is like trying to be a really good mom, and she was really great. She asked me, she says, hey, I'm making sandwiches for your lunch, which was weird because we never brought our lunch because we were always on the poor people's meal ticket thing where we had to go to school really early and stand out there with the other poor kids and wait for us to get approved for that. So, but anyways, so she was like, she's packing my lunch, and she's putting a Twinkie, she's putting a dessert. We never had dessert. We never ate dessert. She's putting a Twinkie in there, and she asked me, she says, would you like me to cut the crusts off your sandwich? And I was like, why would you do that? Like, the crusts are where all the nutrients are in the bread. Duh. And I was telling Sherry this story about it, and then I realized in my own head that is garbage, that is bullshit. Just so you know, the only reason why the crust is darker and tougher is because it gets cooked longer. That's it. There are no extra minerals and vitamins in the crust. I realize now that my mom didn't want to cut the crust off for 4 or 5 kids in a morning and didn't even want us to be fussy like that. So she just told me a lie so that I would shut the fuck up and eat my sandwich. And so that was a big eye-opener for me. So I mean, I agree with the policy now, especially as an adult, and if I had kids, then I would probably tell them the same thing as a great joke. But that's a good analogy a lot for religion. My mom and my dad, they were the jock and the cheerleader in high school, and you know, she was the blonde and he was the football, you know, probably more like Ed Bundy than not Ted Bundy, Ed Bundy. For Polk High, playing football in high school. So, but when they got together, they're both fucking neurotic and psychopaths and narcissists. And they had me, and I was this tender, sweet little boy that they had raised into the church, and I believed everything they told me in the church. And so it was just a weird thing for me to grow up and experience my genetics. Does that make sense? So, like, certain things did not ring true the way that they rang whenever I'd talk with my Mormon friends. I'm like, well, we don't do that in our house. It was different because not only was my dad a convert, but my dad was also my dad. Like, he was the alcoholic, boozing, partying, fucking all kinds of women on the road while he was a truck driver kind of guy. And but he also wanted to be a family man, so he ended up, you know, busting loads on my mom, and she was like, you know, I want to have more kids. My mom even said she prayed about it, fasted and prayed, and asked him to have my brother. Hold on. So that's a whole other story. I'll tell you another time. So, but my mom fasted and prayed in order to have that one last kid. And I love my brother, but it was definitely a mistake. But my brother came out like he was dropped on his head. My mom's eggs were a little old at the time, so she was in I think her late 30s when she had him, if I remember right. But anyways, so religion. It wasn't until later, much later in life, that I realized, and I actually gave a shout out to my. Oh, they took the trailer. Good. No more stash for the critters. So, lumpy. No, watch out. That's fine. I don't want to fall in that pit hole. But they filled it. Oh, it emptied. It opened up again.
Yeah, it did.
Jesus Christ. This is the rain. So, but yeah, you know, and that's one of the things that happened to us when I was in Utah, surrounded by all the bounty and beauty that is Box Elder and the beautiful community. I mean, there's a reason why they called it Zion. It's really, really pretty up there. However, I never fit in, and I couldn't figure out why. Even though I was just trying to be my dad's oldest son and trying to just learn how to be a man, even though my dad wasn't really there to teach me how to be a man. I was a very tender, sweet child. If you listen to Dave Chappelle talk about what he was like as a child, that reminded me a lot of my childhood. And I did not get the coaching that Dave got. I was left alone a lot of the time. And all I had was Gilligan and Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy. And one of my favorites was the Dick Van Dyke Show. And that was my first exposure to being of what a comedy writer would be. And I loved that lifestyle where they just sit around in an office. Not that I like smoking cigarettes or anything like that, but they just, you know, it was kind of cool to be able to come up with jokes with somebody else, and then somebody else who's famous executes it for you on a really big platform, and it's just really satisfying. So, but anyways. So back to the bread. But that was a really big eye-opener. So, you know, not that religion's bad, because it gets people to do stuff they wouldn't normally do. the problem is the molestation of the trust. And you see that a lot. And you see that almost every time in religion. Anything that gets organized, like, well, George Carlin talked about it. Anytime when you group people in 2 or more, they tend to go a little squirrely. The way that he explained it was that people give up their identity and their beliefs in order to be part of the group. And that's where the compromise is. And if you don't have resentment from that, you definitely have some other expectations. And of course, when those things aren't met and your needs are not being met, for me, it was growing up in a household that didn't have enough love, it didn't have enough attention. And even though my dad made really, really good money, he did not spend it on us, or at least in the ways that I needed. Like, I needed new school clothes. He wouldn't buy me new school clothes, but he would take me on a week trip to Lake Powell on a houseboat. And I was supposed to be grateful for that. And I was thankful, but it wasn't school clothes. So I had to go to school as a poor kid and then also wait in line for the meal ticket because my dad didn't want to pay for meals. So my dad probably really liked Trump a lot. So, but my dad's been dead for some time now, and just mattresses, just hanging out. Yeah.
He's been gone for 14 years.
Scrog. God, it's 14 years now. Yeah, 08. It was 08, right? Yeah. So, but my father lives on through me. And I think I was talking to somebody the other day about how it's my belief that our RNA or some other piece of our DNA actually records all of our lives. So I don't want to get into that. That's a whole other fiction story that I'm writing. So, it's still flooded. Hey, you gotta go. Stop. Ahoy. Yeah, you gotta go. You can't be there. You cannot be here. You gotta go. This is called an urban encampment. So we're gonna swing back in a little bit. Thank you for your compliance. All right, see you later. So anyways, my dad and Trump would have got along a lot. So, but there's what was it? I was talking last blog about, I was when I did the night drive on the way home from the comedy club. And it's been eating me up a lot about Josh and Mark, who, by the way, are doing a fake podcast, which it's an interesting idea, but I think it's going to flop because they don't have any commitment and there's no real content. So, but the idea is to edit together a bunch of clips, and the name of the podcast is called Only Clips. And I'll make a link to it, and I hope I wish for their best success, but I don't think it's going to be successful, mostly because the material's not there, and also they don't execute very well. So, but that was my complaint the other night about their comedy show that they ran, and of course they won't put me on their comedy show, and I was out there building the speakers, and I was like talking to myself saying, okay, if they did put you up, what would you talk about? And I was like, well, I'd probably go on a little bit of a rant about not getting along with people in the comedy community. And so this does a couple things. Is number one, it says something to the comedians that are watching me, which is, there's a lot of them that go to these comedy shows. That's all they do. And the other thing that it talks to is, you can park over there if you want. It kills with the audience. Because the stories that I tell are more about getting along with other humans. That it has very little to do with the comedy community, but the way that I can describe it is the way that you can relate to it, as if there's people that you don't like at work, or they don't like you for some stupid reason, and that's everybody. So everybody can relate to something like that. And so I was going through some of the bits in my mind that I would talk about, and then I kept getting more and more mad about them not putting me up. So, but it's a weird thing. It's like I don't want to ask them because I don't want to go through the thing that I went through last time when I talked to you guys about this, where this place was a lot nicer than the Grid. Oh my God, it was a really nice club. It's the Southwest. Brewery. And it's right there on the corner of Center and Main Street in Mesa, downtown Mesa.
It's called 12 West.
12 West, yeah, brewery. So anyways, and it's down in the basement, and it's a comedy show, but I think I'm still going to ask them just to get the no out of the way. But I have a lot of these really brilliant comedy ideas, and they are scared. They're scared of them, which to me, as a writer and a comedian and part-time philosopher, that intrigues me. That is something very interesting, and I think whether I go down in flames or I am a smash, that would be something that I would want to have in a comedy show. But to follow up on the review that I did on the comedy show, none of the comedians, except for maybe Ray Earl, who does he go by? Ray Earl, yeah. And Ray's act is more about being sassy and black and gay and spicy and fun, and that's his persona that he wants to do on stage, and it's very entertaining and it's very fun, and everybody has a good laugh about it, and it's really sort of relieving. Some of the comics that were on before him had some of the bad habits that they criticized me about doing, which was like going up with notes and things like that, and I'm like, well, that was an open mic, and I wrote the material 5 minutes before I performed it, like so I'm not getting straight answers out of these two, and they're acting not quite like gatekeepers, but they're also not letting me get on the show. And another reason why they said they turned me down from the grid was they said that other comedians said that they wouldn't perform or they didn't feel safe or whatever because I was going to the show, and I was like, I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't done anything. If anything, people have tried to bully me into, not being me, and I haven't let them. I haven't put up with their bullshit, and I've called them out on it, and I stand up to them. Now, do they not like that? Yeah, they don't like that because they're bullies. They're used to getting their way, and they're also grown children throwing tantrums over some bullshit. The other thing is I think they find me a threat because I've already had like 5 careers, and they don't even they're not even like a good Uber driver. You know what I mean? Like, there's no comparison for life experience, but I think that's what makes me a better comedian. Yeah, they go, well, their argument is like, well, Patrick, if you're such a good comedian, why don't you go on the road? And I go, I don't want to be a road comic. That is a shitty job. And you make no money. And they go, well, you get famous. And I go, why don't you just make funny fucking videos and get famous that way? And so, but they're the ones running the local shows, but yet they like Mark's account. And again, I'll put a link to it in the description. Mark's account on Instagram. Mark is a great photographer. He's a great editor. He's the one that helped me put together the Starlink Studios video. He's very talented, but he's only got like 1,000 subscribers. And he's been doing this a really long time. He's been doing stand-up longer than I have. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so, and then I didn't look on what Josh has. I don't know. You can look at Josh Graves and see how many followers he has. And I'm like, you guys are doing something wrong. You're not interesting. And you also don't have any follow-through. And I figured this out a long time ago when I decided to just start burning bridges in the car audio industry. I thought that there might be some people out there interested in some of the things that I have to say, especially because you're not supposed to say these things. You're not supposed to talk about profit margins and sources and things like that in the car audio industry because everybody's making a ton of cash. So it's sort of like hush, hush, hush. If people want to find out about this bullshit, then they can find out about it eventually. And that's, again, this goes back to what I was talking about with my mom about the crusts on the bread. That it's bullshit, but you have to, like a fucking John Mayer song, you have to rise above this lie in order to figure out there is no real world. There is no, there is no, I'm thinking about Alan Watts right now. And Alan Watts talks about that in our society, the child is always told that you'll be an adult when this happens, when you accomplish this. Like, you'll be an adult when you graduate high school. Oh, but now you have to go to college. Once you graduate college and get a job, then you'll be an adult. And once you provide for a family and have a big house and a nice car and 2.5 kids, then you'll be an adult. And sometime about in your mid to late 40s, that's a midlife crisis, you realize it's all been a lie, and you're like, fuck, they fucking tricked me. And that's where I'm at right now, where I realized there's no extra nutrients in the fucking crust. not that I'm having a midlife crisis, of course, but there's discoveries about myself that I've made that I think are insanely valuable. And I think that's why you guys come and see me on YouTube and talk to me on YouTube. And I am very thankful for that. And I don't know, I've been really, really busy lately, and I got a ton of videos I need to do. And luckily, what was it? Yeah, Krissy and I had a guy that's been bugging me lately about going down to a club in downtown Phoenix over there on Washington. And it was kind of cool talking to him too, because they were fighting with the city too. The city wants to gentrify that whole area, and they didn't want to participate. They wanted to be a sleazy nightclub. You know, all clubs are gross and sleazy in some way, but they fought, and they were able to remain a club, and they still do what they do. But anyways, the guy that runs the sound, they got 4 24-inch weird woofers that they were like, find out what Pat wants to recone them. And when I got there, I was like, these are turds. You don't want these. You know, even if you recone them, you're still stuck with the same turd. So, and I think I charged them like $100 for a house call. And because I was like, I don't have time for people to just fucking jerk me around and say, come down to, I don't have time for that shit anymore. And luckily though, I remembered that just down the street from the club is the Arizona Corporation Commission. And so I went in there real quick and I filled out the paperwork for BlackJack Audio LLC, went ahead and filed it. And so we'll see what happens if they approve it, which there's no reason why they shouldn't, but we'll find out. And I've been holding on to the .com for a while, and I've been setting up all the Instagram, YouTube, and so it'll have its own YouTube channel. It's a real business. It's a real business. Well, what I realize now is that I cannot function as I intended. Being as nice as I am, I cannot move forward, and I also can't sell robot. It's not like that. So I have to figure out a way. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, always talks about always have your exit plan in mind whenever you enter into a new adventure, a new investment or something like that. So one of the things I want to do is start my own business, and I finally feel capable and ready to function in that. BlackJack Audio will be a hybrid of robot and business. And what I mean by that is that I still don't want to be a dick the way that JL and Rockford and those brands are snobby, selling a woofer that costs $50 to make that they're selling for $500, $1,000. I still don't want to do that. But what I can do is empower you guys to, again, do the same things that I want you to do, which is resell. And so basically what BlackJack Audio is going to be is a alternative to Lord of Bass and PSI, or fixmyspeaker.com. So David Moore owns PSI and fixmyspeaker.com. Fixmyspeaker.com is the parts end of it, where he can sell you parts and coils and spiders and all that kind of stuff. PSI is the brand part of it that's Peakstar Industries, that sells amps and finished woofers and all that kind of stuff, and they do upgrades and all that kind of stuff. So that's what David does. David is so overwhelmed and busy, he has to shut down the fixmywoofer.com, or what is it? Fixmyspeaker.com. I'll put a link to it in the description. Even though the website is down like 10 months out of the year, just because he's so busy on the PSI side, and those are finished goods. There's more margin on those. You can scoot up if you want. There's more margin on that stuff, and I can see why he would do that. So, but I want to import. I don't want to say specific items, but unique items that Lord of Bass and PSI are not importing. And I want to give you guys the ability to not only pay less, or at least have an alternative to stuff that you can buy instead of at Lord of Bass. So right now we're still going to continue the sale on the new Gonzo cones. And that's what we're calling them through the Robot Underground organization. Through BlackJack, we're going to be calling them Aces. That's the top end cone. Even though I have one above that, that's going to be all carbon fiber. That's the Joker's Wild. So again, the whole theme is basically BlackJack and cards and all that kind of stuff. So again, if you guys want to make your own car audio company, all I got to do is come up with a theme. Doesn't matter if it's like gay Navy or like Memphis chose orange. Who was it? Ground Zero chose yellow. Fusion chose green. In the case of Recoil chose blue. It's usually a color scheme that they come up with, and then you just sort of play on the theme. I still think that Larry and crew should really go with the Recoil name and say, you know, pull the trigger and find out. But some people are still sensitive about school shootings and things like that. I'm like, people die every day. Just don't worry about that. You're still alive and you're a customer. You want to buy some cool stuff, go buy Recoil. So, but I need to get into the retail space. And also, I think it'll help me get along better with my neighbors here in Arizona and Mesa. If I'm contributing some tax money and collecting some taxes for them, they might leave me alone. And it's like, I don't need to argue with them whether or not BlackJack Audio is a business or not. It's a business. It's definitely a business. And so, but it's important to understand the rules that you want and to keep your freedoms and not let, like they did in COVID, come in and tell every business what they have to do and things like that. So, but anyways, I wanted to tell you guys about the launch of BlackJack Audio, which is going live. We're going to be importing a lot of basically non-badged, or I should say covertly badged products from China that are high quality, well built. I'm working with several build houses to acquire these parts, and it's good as an importer also to work with multiple vendors, not only to get you better pricing, but sometimes just timing and also for competition. Because this new vendor that I found, one of the things that I've been having trouble getting is like the 2-inch collars that Sundown they didn't invent, but they badged their version, and it's just a reinforcement collar that they use because they're too cheap to use epoxy, and so they use the collar with CA. Not only does it make it stronger because they were having brake problems, the spider was breaking away from the coil because they're using cheap CA, but it just sort of reinforces it. Also looks cool, and so that's that thing. But I don't have access to the Sundown parts anymore, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to buy my own. So I can buy a generic for really, really cheap, and then I can pass that on to you guys. And basically the retail end of it is going to be comparable to Lord of Base. And the advantage that we're going to have is that we're going to have supplies when Lord of Base doesn't. And we're also going to have other unique products that Lord of Base does not carry. I do want to have some staple items that we probably either can't advertise at a lower price, but there will be a dealer's program that we want to do. Mostly, again, it's BlackJack Audio, dealers only. It'll be $1,000 buy-in. Some of you guys will be grandfathered in that you've already done $1,000 buy-in when I bought out the concept industries about that stuff. And so a couple of builders over in California have already done that. And who else? Anthony Aho. He came and supported me after that buyout, even though he's importing from China already by himself. So, but Anthony Aho's out of Oklahoma, if I remember right. Anyways, but I just wanted to tell you about that. I'm really excited about what's going on. We are almost caught up on orders. I got a very busy night ahead of me. I had a frosted coffee from the gay people hating chicken place, Chick-fil-A. And it was so delicious, and it's got me nice and perky right now because I'm a tender Mormon boy in Mesa, Arizona, and when I drink a coffee, ooh, it's like meth, Mormon meth. So I'm a little spritey right now, and I'm ready to go home and build a bunch of woofers and do some cool shit. So, but the BlackJack Audio website is going to be very simple and basic for right now until we can get a more professional looking one. I'll probably just use Square as the processor along with a backup processor. I think we're going to try to use some Google products because I think a lot of people use Google Pay, and I think the fees are just using Google products. Google has a lot of products like free websites, free Google Pay, and a bunch of other cool stuff that most people don't know about. And I've been, again, if you're not on TikTok, get on fucking TikTok. The first couple weeks, it'll be weird. You'll get some random videos, and like sometimes they'll tempt you with like some titties and some dumb girl looking at the camera and the screen. and responding to a bunch of pervs sending her roses and gifts and all that kind of stuff. And it's the dumbest thing ever. And just zip on through that, and the algorithm will pick up on stuff that you like and stuff that you're interested in, and it's really, really educational. Right now I find it better than television. In fact, what's really great about TikTok is a lot of the documentaries that it's turned me on to that I have not been able to find. One of the things that I came across today was that IFC, Independent Film Channel, has its own streaming service, which is amazing. I love art house films. Those are real films to me. All this other stuff that you go to the movie theater and watch is just kind of bullshit. But those are real stories, and they take real challenges, and they really challenge your comfort, like fucking Brokeback Mountain and shit like that. Stuff that it's not about two dudes and sheep. It's really about love and heartbreak and not being able to be who you really want to be. And that's a human condition thing that everyone in the world experiences except my mother, who's a pretty white woman who gets her way. So, I wanted to share that stuff with you guys, and I'm constantly working on writing and movie ideas and internet properties and things like that. And I just wanted to express my thank you for you guys and your support. I know the channel's been a little quiet lately. Most of that is just because I'm super, super busy. I fall asleep in my clothes like all the time, where I'm just like, I'll lay down for a second, and then I'm like out. And I don't have my CPAP on, so I don't sleep great, and my back's been hurting me, and I've been trying to stay away from the opiates. I'm usually like 1, maybe 2 days on and then 3 days off. So, because I do not want to have that as a habit. But luckily the past couple of days, if I poop early in the morning, and I take a shower, and I stretch and I do some exercises, then my back is actually pretty good. So, and the whole idea is not to be on opiates in the first place. So, but I do have them just in case, and I think everybody should have. It doesn't have to be illegal, it doesn't have to be off the street or whatever, but sometimes if you have to get it, I will never go without again after I passed a kidney stone, because that was fucking horrible. And the fact that I went into my doctor after I got in that fight with that guy, and I broke a rib, and they didn't believe me until they got their x-rays back. And then even then they only gave me like a really light narcotic when they should have given me something stronger. It was all fucking bullshit. And I want you guys to understand that this is your only life. This is your only chance. You really need to take full responsibility for it and value your life. Value your dreams. Nobody is going to love your dreams more than you, and nobody is going to accomplish your dreams for you. That's never going to happen unless you're a hot chick with big jugs. Then that might possibly happen for you with somebody else working it. But you're not going to keep it because you didn't work for it. And so you'll always take it for granted, and you're like, well, that's fine. I'm a hot chick with big tits, and that's going to be fine until you're an old chick that's ugly with big tits, and then that's a whole different story. And there's lots of girls like that on Instagram and TikTok. So where I'm like, TikTok's like, you want to look at this girl? She's got big jugs. I'm like, I'd rather work. And then I go back to working. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for your support. We're going to hunt. Well, we already went by the places. Well, let's do a follow-up with that guy. Let's go back and go see that guy again. So only one critter tonight. It's been pretty quiet lately, mostly because of the heat. But we've been getting rain like almost every day. And so that's why that area was flooded. And it just cools the place down. And then what's great is usually it's usually not this cool, even with the rain. But usually right around late September or early October, like Columbus Day, it finally gets really nice. And then it's super nice all the way into like April, May. And then it's hot again. So, but we put up with it just like people in Minnesota put up with the snow. It's only for a couple of months, and you just do it. And the rest of the time it's pretty nice. So let's go back and see this guy and see if he took off. So, but I got to talk story with Tina and Adam, and we got to exchange stories, and we don't see them very often because they live so far, and we want to spend more time with them. I want to take you guys out. He really helped develop and run Fyre Farm out there on the, hey, you got to go. You got to go. Well, you got to go. Well, you got to go. If you'd like, I can have... I can have Mesa PD come up and escort you if you like. I'd rather not.
Said that being 20 grand, and then maybe, I'm the guy that puts food in the grocery store, called George Whitman. 45-year documented, I don't know for the Capt. Anyhow, long story short, I thought I broke your arm, and I'm going to step back and say, that's not worth it. You'll look at that overeat your third.
Well, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Then if you pay a private credit card, unlimited source for 1 year.
Okay. All right, we're going to visit back in another 15 minutes. And if you're still here, then I'm going to let Mesa PD know that you're camping out, and that's not okay. Adios. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Okay.
Shoot, I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a stick. You don't want to run over it.
I'm letting them go by.
Oh. We got a camper out back. I've asked him to leave twice, and he refuses to leave.
Where's he at?
He's just right around the corner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you know the address of that?
No,
It's
sorry.
just right here.
Yeah.
Right there? Yeah, right there, where the spot is.
Well, that was convenient. Oh, she looked cute too. Oh. So anyways, I love you guys, and thank you for keep your questions coming. It's been kind of quiet on the comment section, and I don't want the comment section to be ruled by the negative people who are like, oh, you're being mean to MB enclosures. I can't believe you're calling them a whatever, pussy or a coward or a prostitute or whatever I called them. I was being very descriptive about that, and I said those things for good reason. I don't just talk trash to hate somebody. That's dumb. I want there to be real teeth. I want there to be real reason for me to say what I say. Now, if you don't understand that, I can explain it to you. That's fine. But if you disagree with it, that's fine too. I don't give a shit. So, that's a different cop.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I
Because hers
agree.
was all black, and
Yeah.
that other one was black and white.
Yep.
So anyways, I just wanted to call in and, or not call, but, do a video. Haven't done a critter cruise in a while, and get you updated. A lot of the stuff that I've been doing today was working, and then a bunch of people showed up and gave me a bunch of money, and I'm like, cool. But I want to get into those business loans that I have not had access to, because Robot Underground is not a business. So they don't own anything. Mostly it's just education and helping people, and that's what we've done an okay job at. But I really want to get that to the next level, and so Robot will continue. It'll still be educational. It'll still do a lot of the wild, crazy, fucking balls to the walls, jizzing in your face kind of shit. But BlackJack Audio will not. BlackJack Audio is going to be a little expensive. But they're going to have top quality products, and we're still going to do the 3-year warranty. It's just a lot of stuff is going to be all brand new, no used stuff. All the used stuff is going to go to Robot, just like all returns, or a lot of the returns from Amazon, from Recoil, are going to go to Robot as well. And we're still going to do that. We're actually going to have the UNI site, UENI. Their marketing and their SEO has really gotten me to the top. So when you search Robot Underground on Google, the UNI site actually comes up and populates. And I've been tinkering on there, changing some of the pictures that they put up there for me. If you don't know, UNI, one of the things that I like about it is that it's basically an online store. Not that I got it for that, but one of the things that they offered that nobody else did was it was a $150 flat fee for somebody to help me set up the website, which they did. And granted, it wasn't what I wanted, but they did a good job doing what they wanted to do. The great thing about it, though, is that it's unlimited hosting. So I can, for the most part, as long as I'm not like hosting like fucking videos and shit like that, you offload that onto like YouTube or TikTok or somebody like that. But the biggest thing that I wanted to do was build the library of stuff, not only for Audio Guts website. We want to integrate that into the UNI site. Also, a lot of the history and stories that I've talked about, backed up with links to the Internet Archive and really sort of be a baseline for people, pun not intended, but basically a resource for people to find parts and service and vendors. Again, Robot is about being open source and helping people. I want to have multiple links to competitors to show that yes, we do have the best price, or what we do is we offer a superior product for the same price. Because again, I don't want to get into a price war with either Dave or George, mostly because those guys are super competitive and I don't like being competitive. I like cheating. I like offering something that nobody else offers and then offering it at a price that is below what they want to offer it at. So to me, I consider that cheating, but it's on the same plane as the story about Captain Kirk. And I'll leave you guys with this. If you guys don't know the story about Captain Kirk, basically before he was a captain, when he was going through the academy, there's a computer that you get it to the end that it tests you, and it puts you in a situation that's no win. And the idea behind the test is to figure out what kind of captain you're going to be, what kind of leader are you going to do, what are you going to sacrifice if you are going to sacrifice. And it's really just sort of a crucible to figure out what kind of person you are, and if you are indeed the kind of person that they want to put in charge of a starship. And again, I'm playing into all that. Let's go check it out. And then, so anyways, so the way that Captain Kirk gets through this test is he sneaks in the night before and he reprograms the computer to basically give him a way to win. So, did he cheat? Technically, yes, he did. But did you get away with it? Yes. Were they able to prove that he cheated? No. If I remember the story correctly. And they don't ever tell the story through the canon of Star Trek. They sort of tell it through multiple portions of different movies and things like that, through the timeline of Captain Kirk and Star Trek and all that kind of stuff. So, most of life is that way. Most of life is hacking and being creative, and in a way, it's not only about breaking stuff, but it's also about being responsible if you get caught, and also if you stand up. And really, that's the only thing that I have against Nerdy Girls, was that they broke stuff, they were able to hack me, they were able to steal my IP, but they weren't sorry about it. They weren't like, hey man, I was just, pushing envelope or, doing something. No, they're fucking vicious. They're pieces of shit. And I will not forgive until they do something that is significant and contribute and honor the work that I've done and established on that IP. And until then, they will be punished and they will be sought after. So, but the important thing that you learn about the story of Captain Kirk is that, and I found this out in basic training as well, that they purposely give you too little time and too little resources in order to come up with something creative. And there's nothing wrong with cheating as long as you own up to it. Now, if you don't own up to it, then that's where it becomes a thing of honor. And then you got to live with that shit. Like if you live with a Purple Heart, but you killed, what's his name? That football player from Arizona? Tillman. Pat Tillman, who got shot in the back from friendly fire, come to find out. You know what I mean? Like, let's say he survived and he got a Purple Heart for being wounded in battle. And it's like, how long do you keep that secret? How long do you go, well, technically I was wounded in battle, but it was because of friendly fire. You know what I mean? And also, do those people pay up? Do those people admit to what they did was wrong? And it wasn't until later that we found out the truth about it. And it was like, fuck. Life is messy, man. And that's one of the reasons why I don't give in to you guys with the OCD about being clean and all this other stuff. You guys are missing it. You're missing out on life. Life is messy and you're all in. And I want you to fully commit to your life and do the best that you can with what you have. And you will be put through the crucible day in and day out. And you will be tested. And I want to see what you come up with. And again, that's why I keep giving you resources like TikTok and other stuff, other links that I do. I want to share these things because nobody shared them with me. And I wish that somebody had done that. They're not doing the work for me, but they're definitely showing me a little peek that there's something else. And sometimes it's a school teacher that's not allowed to teach you the full history of things. Sometimes it's a friend of the family that can't be your parent and knows that you're in a fucked up situation, so they just give you a little wink like, you're gonna be okay, kid. Sometimes it's that. I wanna be that for you guys. I wanna be that. If you're watching this channel and if you found me, that's what I wanna do for you. So I can't fix your problems, but I can help you find resources and let you know that it's the worst thing that's gonna happen is you die. So if you prepare for that and you're not afraid of that, you will be strong, vicious, and dangerous. And that makes you be able to execute things that you wouldn't normally be able to execute. So anyways, I love you guys. I will talk to you later, and I'm gonna go check for homeless people right now. Bye.